Hi, I'm independent author Nick Vellis. I've always been a voracious reader and particularly love a good mystery. Growing up, I enjoyed reading about Sam Spade, Spencer, Mike Hammer, and Sherlock Holmes. My favorite characters were the ones in the pages of books by Robert B. Parker, Earl Stanley Gardner, or Alistair MacLean. For me, stumbling upon a family secret was the catalyst to taking the writing plunge. While researching my father's World War II experience, I discovered he had been an American OSS commando in occupied Greece. One what-if question after another led to my first historical suspense thriller, Dig Two Graves, Revenge or Honor. Blending a contemporary storyline with a World War II backstory, Dig Two Graves weaves two great stories together. Here is a scene from Dig Two Graves. The year, 1944. The place, the mountains of occupied Greece. Lieutenant John Pantheris is going to negotiate with an enemy officer, knowing he's walking into a trap. John took slow, measured steps towards the two men, steps he'd practiced for years, and again coming down the hill. John counted each step, estimating the distance again and again. He knew the exact distance to his target, his exact position in relation to the hidden bunker, and where he would need to take action. When he was about 7 yards from the two men, he made his move. The Thompson was gone from his right shoulder, giving him better balance. The discarded web belt gave him more flexibility and improved access to the .45 tucked in his fatigue pants. John dropped to his left knee, his weight shifted over his left foot, giving him a stable platform. In a fluid motion, he raised the front of his shirt with his left hand, pulled his .45 from the waistband with his right, and took a firm two-handed grip. He was less than 25 feet from his two targets. He had practiced firing from this position at this distance thousands of times. He knew he would hit his target. John squeezed off a set of double taps, two quick shots at Solaris. He lurched backwards. John could see the blood fly, feel the recoil, and smell the burned powder. The instant John fired, the Major charged. Closer is better, John thought, as he took aim and fired again. This time he could see his hits clearly, one to the head, one to the chest, one to the leg. The Major fell less than 2 arm lengths from him. John went to a full prone position as Armageddon erupted over his head. My next project, Death in Her Eyes, a private investigator novel about a former Army CID investigator with a nose for trouble, has led to 4 PI mysteries so far. My latest project is another story in the Mac PI series. Here is a scene from my first PI novel, Death in Her Eyes, where Mac is talking to a prospective client. How long since your separation? He asked. Since I'd never been married, I assumed he wanted to know how long I'd been out of the service. Old Army guys never forget their time in uniform. It's been a while, sir, I replied. If you don't mind my saying so, you don't look so good, son. You having trouble reintegrating? You look tense and, really, Sherlock, you are clever. The General's words didn't come out as criticism. It was more as if he was concerned, but it stung nonetheless. I'm not tense, just terribly, terribly alert, I snapped. The joke didn't even fall flat. The silence that followed was uncomfortable for me, but the General just looked at me with his mocking smile. He looked down and to his right, an indication of an internal dialogue. He was asking himself questions, I guessed, about me. I've been going to the VA for a while now, I said, at last. It's getting better. Not sure if I believed what I said, but I said it nonetheless. We're going to play it like that, are we? He said. Wine is a mocker, strong drink a brawler, and whatever is led astray by it is not wise. Proverbs 20, verse 1, he said. I've looked after troops a long time. I give it to you straight. You look like shit unless that's the style now. I've had my ups and downs, sir, like I said. Things are getting better. None of my business, but settling back into civilian life can be tough when you've seen action. Some cause happiness wherever they go, others whenever they go, I said. The general snorted but didn't smile. Oscar Wilde isn't one of my favorite people. I prefer Lincoln, Stonewall Jackson, Edmund Burke, those sorts of men, more historical figures. And the most important book, the Bible. The immortal words of Frank Sinatra came to mind. Alcohol may be the man's worst enemy, but the Bible says love your enemy. But I thought I'd sit on that thought. I nodded and tried to muster a disarming smile. I don't think it worked. If you need help, you call me, you hear, he said. His face didn't change as he said this, and I had the feeling he'd made the offer before, maybe too many times. Yes, sir, I said, with a little nod. Turning to the butler, he said, Norris, a couple iced teas, if you please. We'll take them by the lake. Yes, sir. If you'd like something stronger, I can sweeten that for you, General Hunt said, looking at me. No, thank you, sir. I never mix my drinking with my work, I said. Sweet tea will be fine. Good man. A Southern gentleman drinks his tea sweet and his intoxicants slow. I respect a man who knows how to control his liquor. You can control your liquor. To me, controlling my liquor means don't spill any. My work and my drink are two separate things. I take them both seriously, I replied. That's all, Norris. He gave the butler a nod and was gone like a faded echo. The general spoke again when his retainer was out of sight. The end of all things is at hand. Therefore, be self-controlled and sober-minded for the sake of your prayers. 1 Peter 4, verse 7. The general nodded a few more times, pursed his lips, holding me in his gaze. He was sizing me up. Finally he said, You're quite a smart-ass, aren't you? My host grabbed his towel and ran it over his face. I've heard that before, but better a smart-ass than a dumbass. You didn't call me all the way out here for some lecture on reintegration. What do you want from me, sir? I've got a couple cold ones waiting for me at home. There's a fine line between being smart and being a smart ass. You're about to cross it. You always try to talk yourself out of a job? I enjoy writing flawed characters who struggle to bring out the best in themselves. Books have always been a special thing for me and have always held a special place in my life. Now I find new excitement in writing mysteries, suspense thrillers, and more. I can use my law enforcement and intelligence experience to create stories that combine mystery and suspense with a dash of humor. Come along and see what sort of trouble my characters can create. Thanks for coming to the Sunshine State Book Festival.